Good evening. Welcome to this regular scheduled business meeting, the Summersville City Council, on this 10th day of April 2023. Welcome to all of our guests tonight. We've got a lofty agenda, so let's move right into it. The first item on the agenda is consideration of the council minutes of the meeting we held on March 27th of 2023.
Move to approve and waive the reading. Second.
Council, we have a motion and a second. The motion was to waive the reading. Are there any changes or amendments to the minutes as they were presented in your packet? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion so carries. Next item on the agenda is public comment. Did anybody sign up that is not on the agenda? Nope. Okay, all signees are on the agenda. Okay, in an excited way, we hear the second round tonight of the City Council grant presentations. Last meeting, we had 5 presenters. This meeting, we're blessed with 5 more great organizations that will make presentations. And then the next meeting, City Council will make the decision on the funds and distribution. So first up tonight is Last Shepherd Discount Donation Center. And we're glad to have with us Melanie Lawhorn. Welcome, Melanie.
Oh, thank you.
The podium is all yours.
Here's a little bit about, if you want to pass these down on that side.
Thank you.
This one right here.
Hey, Bob, do you care to turn that mic on? I don't think I turned it on the, or maybe Melanie can grab it.
Is it on?
Yeah, there's a button switch on it.
Very fast.
Sorry about that, I should have turned it on.
Oh, you're
There
fine.
we go, thank you.
Okay. Well, my name's Melanie Lawhorn. My main name is Shepherd. I have the Last Shepherd Discount Donation Center. We started actually in 2014, and it kind of like started out as actually a hobby, because we moved up here in 2005 when my husband retired. Well, he took a year off work, and then he started his overseas work. Well, I had nothing to do and just had nothing to do. The kids were grown, so I started this. And in 2016, we actually came nonprofit because we had so many people that I guess kind of like needed our help and things. So a little bit about what we do is, when I first started, most of my sales went to the animal shelter because I'm a big animal lover. We've already gotten, I think, just recently, 25 cat rescues plus fixed, plus paid the vetting and all that. We also, we give to people that needs it. We, oh gosh, help with about every place. Most of the local restaurants, the local workers, we'll give like black pants, brown pants, green shirts, red shirts. Also, oh gosh, let's see. Gift certificates for the different raffles. We sponsor like most of the pageants with the dresses. We give the Falta Center when they come in, whatever they need. Let's see. We helped out with about everything. Anybody that really actually needs it. People that are burnt out, just about anything. And the reason we are asking for funding is because the building is older, and I guess with everything that's happened as far as like shut down with kind of like COVID and all that, and the heating went out this probably about 2 months ago. That's what actually, because before I actually really never needed any funding, but it was going to be so expensive. It's like $50,000 because it's on top of the roof and all that. So we're just kind of needing some funding with that.
Okay.
But you can see on our papers, if you like look up thrift stores in Summersville, we have, I think on Google there was like just within, this was like a month ago, there was like 7,718 people that actually viewed and looked up to the store. And let's see, well, you'll see on the papers. We bring a lot of people in from a lot of people from out of the state. Anytime, like if you actually just look up thrift, you'll see the store on there. It'll come up. And we don't throw anything away. Like the garages, we give them anything that's like for rags and things like that. Oh gosh. We actually help out Clay, we help them out, we help out Braxton, Webster, we help a lot with their vetting bills. Also, even the dresses and different things for their stores, for their places that they need.
Okay, good.
That's about it. But when we sponsor our potato festival for the dresses, Cherry River Festival, about all those places.
Okay. And so your ask is $50,000 and it's for the HVAC system.
Yeah.
Now, so it needs completely renewed, it's
Yeah.
not repairable?
Nope.
Okay,
I've repaired it for the last 2 years, and honestly, if it wouldn't have been so much, I would probably wouldn't have had to ask for help. But in order to stay, like as far as for people to be able to come in and help them, that's gonna happen.
okay. Melanie, are you saying now you don't have any heat or air in your?
Right.
Okay,
Yeah, he went out about a month ago.
okay. Okay, was there a paper she had or something, guys? Was there just one set or?
Yeah, I just did one.
Oh, okay,
I figured
okay.
you could take a look at it.
Oh, okay,
Oh,
good,
okay.
good. Okay,
I'm
good.
sorry, I thought each other.
Okay. Are there any questions, council?
Did you see that?
Do you own the building?
I do.
You own the building personally or
Mhm.
personally? Now, is this a tax exempt organization, IRS?
Yep.
Do you know what the designation is, 501c3 or what?
We're 501c3.
Are you?
When I first started, it wasn't, but it got to where we were starting to help so many people with things. Like a lot of people burnt out, just about anything, and we just went in and came nonprofit.
You're not affiliated with another nonprofit or church or anything, right? Just independent nonprofit?
Yeah, we don't have like a criteria. If people come in, they need things, we let them have it. I don't try to. Honestly, I'm I'm the youngest one out of 14 kids, and I know what it's like not to have a lot of different things. And I hate to see like some people come in, especially kids and stuff, because I've went to work, I've had a little bit that I'm doing really well. But I just enjoy doing it, and now my husband's retired, I just stay down there. Since he's-
24/7.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like any medical things we give away, because I've seen how important it is as far as like when people go to the hospital and they need like walkers or whatever, and any of those, they call, they come in, we give them all that kind of stuff.
So Melanie, the only thing I noticed, the ask of 50,000, I know that's what it costs, that's a big ask, but if
Yes.
the council were to give you some, do you have the means
Yes.
to get the system? Okay.
That was the thing, I thought, you know what, and I wanted to keep it local as far as like, I had to fix it and everything. But yeah, that was the thing, because I know it's gonna be like a tremendous amount. I thought even if I had a little bit of it, it'd help with some, and then I'll be able to do the rest.
The clothing that you get, you talked about giving red pants
Oh,
and,
we
you
didn't
know,
like,
where you get that at?
okay, like most of the workers in Summersville, like people starting out or even anything. Like the red shirts, Family Dollar, they come in because that's all they can wear. Some of the girls at Burke's, that's all this color they can wear. The black pants, like, we have Taco Bell, Shoney's, about any place. They all come in, we love to get, like,
Has that
pants
given,
and
has that been given to you
Mhm.
from other,
yep. And, we got so big where my son had to come back from Colorado to help me. So I pay him and my daughter-in-law. And then like, if, they're reporting, they come up whenever they get out of jail or if they're going to rehab, we help them out, things like that.
But you also sell, right?
Yes.
I
have to,
didn't
just to-
see anything on your financial page.
I left that,
Salaries.
I just left that blank for, to show you what my budget would be, just, if I did get the money, and then I'll have it. Sorry, I thought this was tomorrow night, and I didn't even prepare until like an hour ago. And I was just, I don't know why I was thinking Tuesday.
Okay, council, do you have any other questions? Okay, Melanie, I see a lot of traffic coming in and out of your stores, so I know you do a lot of good for our community, so we thank you. Thank you. Okay, moving right along. Next up would be Loveworks. It says Linda Lancaster. But that looks like Bert Groves.
Well,
Kind of.
I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry. You know, last year, Bert, I think you were here for 3 different presentations, weren't you?
I believe.
Okay, good deal.
I'm
Welcome,
halfway
Bert.
retiring.
Yes, sir. Welcome.
Thank you. LoveWorks is an outreach program of the Memorial United Methodist Church, which is Wayne's church. And they started in 1987, and we are a nonprofit organization. They refer volunteers it's always been volunteers, refer people to the food pantry, Bread of Life. They can do that once a month. And then they give out daily needs for once every 3 months. And they also will give some financial assistance if they're going to have their utilities cut off. Then there's a possibility they could refer them to other county agencies or state agencies as needed. And last year it averaged about 200 clients a month. And they're open Tuesdays and Thursdays from 9 to 12. And that's about 200 a month, as I said. And already just this first quarter, it's 244 average. So, you know, the economic times that we have now, so we do have more need for daily needs. They know when their 90 days are up, so they can come back for more, so.
Okay.
Bert, could you talk about the kinds of things you give out, offer?
Well,
You said daily needs, but I mean,
right. It could be, you know, personal deodorant, toothpaste, toothbrushes, and also like bleach,
cleaning supplies.
toilet paper, paper towels, and if we have them, baby diapers, along those lines. So just stuff that like we use daily.
I know the food pantry gets an awful lot of referrals from the LoveWorks, so.
You know, they come to LoveWorks first to be screened for the one down. And of course, they do those Tuesdays and Thursdays for everyone, so, and there's always that need.
Do a good work.
Bert, how do you all work in conjunction with New Beginnings and the other places we have in town? Do you- I mean-
We might get items from them,
Okay.
or it's possible we might give them items like baby diapers, because I think they give out quite a few of those up there. But
Yeah, do y'all refer to each other? I mean,
that's part of some of those referrals that we
Okay.
have. I think they're only open, what, one Saturday a month,
yeah.
so.
Now, do you serve the same, like, I mean, they serve a pretty broad area. Do you do the same, or does yours seem to be more local or Nicholas
It
County?
starts about Birch River and goes down through Calvin, and then on down to Nettie, and then back through Countyville, and then on to the western part of the county for food and referrals for their utilities.
Okay.
And we'll give out food referrals for the others.
Okay, council, any questions? Any other questions? Okay, LoveWorks, their request is $3,500 for purchase of daily needs. Thank you, Bert.
Thank you, and
Thank you.
appreciate your consideration.
Okay, the next on the agenda is Nicholas Old Main Foundation. And we've got, it says Joe Hamrick, but it looks like Rhonda White. How are you doing this evening, Rhonda? Welcome.
Well, I'm not Joan Hamrick, but I'll try to be her best imitation. Joe is out on medical leave. I'm Dr. Rhonda White, and I serve quite happily on the board of Old Main. I'm their vice president, and that's why I'm here instead of Joe. I told Bert a little while ago that I felt as if I was a college kid plagiarizing material that I was turning into somebody else, because Bert did such an excellent job along with Judy Ball in preparing this request for grant money. But as you know, Old Main is one of the historical buildings along Main Street, and I have a personal interest in preserving and putting forth all the effort we can in preserving all those buildings. We've worked hard to get Old Main in really livable shape. having replaced the heating and air, and we just ground down the basement floor to make it safe because it had holes in it, and now we're finishing it to make it pretty. I say that as a background to ask for this appropriation from Summersville. Some other things now are smaller but need addressed. The sidewalk is uneven and it's difficult for older people or persons in wheelchairs to navigate that safely. Plus, the stairs on the exterior side of the building leading up to the auditorium, the railings have come loose and are crumbling. We need to repair that as an emergency exit from the auditorium. And I hope that I will see all of you there for a meet and greet of the candidates next month on May 18th. But we're working hard, and the auditorium seats have been revised, all the draperies have been cleaned. Excuse me, it's the pollen that has got me and it's got my voice quivering. But our request is for $15,000, and they're mainly to repair those things that make the building usable to the public much more safely. We are a nonprofit. All of the board members are volunteers. We have just rented out enough of the basement. In case you're not familiar, and if you're not, please come visit us. We would love to give you a tour. But we've rented out enough of the basement to cover utilities and hired a part-time janitorial staff. The main floor is the auditorium and the office area, but also part of the museum, and the third floor is a completely set up museum featuring things that school children are absolutely amazed about. So that's basically our proposal for this commission to consider.
Okay, thank you. Anybody have any questions?
You mentioned when you started that you had a personal interest.
Yes.
Can I ask about that?
Yes. I live at the house, the oldest house in Summersville. Excuse me, Mr. Mayor. I think he owns the second oldest, he told me. It's the brick house right behind the fountain, and I'm currently applying to have it put on the historic register. I would love to see from one end of Main Street to the other on the historic register. That's why I said I had a personal interest.
That just sparked my curiosity when you said that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so you said I own the second. I want to set it straight. So the house on Wordleberry, your house, Brock House, and Brown Oaks are the four oldest houses in Summersville.
That is correct.
Yes.
I was
There's
teasing
even
him
a
a
poster that's got
little
all
bit,
four of
but-
them on it. Yeah.
That's okay.
So I don't want people to think that I'm selling my house on Starbuck is the old. Yeah.
Well,
So-
I was born here, grew up here, since you asked about my personal issues, moved away when my family left, and I've been gone 60 years, had a career, and found my place in heaven back in Summersville again. So I moved back 2 years ago, acquired it was actually built by Joseph Alderson, but a lot of people refer to it as the W.G. Brown House or the Stanley House. That's the house I'm talking about. And I'm trying to get it on the National Historic Register.
My wife was asking, I live down Water Street, and we come up Water Street and look at the house. You know, every time we come up, she's always asking me, who lives in that house? I said, I forgot to find out now.
Well, I'm loving it.
Good.
I'm loving it. I've been in that house about 2 years. And I've only been on Old Main Foundation Board for 1 year. And I'm loving every part of moving back to Summersville. And I would love for all of you to come to my house, but come to Old Main first.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Anybody have any other questions?
Just a point on the construction things you'll be dealing with, and your board will. And you mentioned that the sidewalks, and I take a big interest in construction things. There's a new, I call it a new process out, where companies come in and they will lift and level and straighten your sidewalks. And it's much cheaper with today's inflationary costs on concrete. It's about $200 a yard. Is that right, Mayor?
Oh, yeah.
So that's something to look at. I think there's a company in Beckley, I know they'll be in Charleston, but to have a company come up and raise those up and match them up, if you don't have enough money to replace it, might be a go-to position. That's all.
Well, and thank you for that, and I will pursue that. The 15,000 was a figure given to us by a local contractor. We asked several local contractors and prefer local.
Of course.
But he is busy in another state doing work, and I'm not sure that we can get him to do the work, but we're relying on his estimate as being fairly accurate to the cost of doing this work, whether he does it or not.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions, council? Okay, Rhonda, thank you.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
the work you and your board do. Thank you so much.
We'll come up and see you soon.
Okay, next on the agenda, and of course that ask was $15,000 to repair stairs, handrails, and level sidewalks. Moving right along, Soul Mountain Sailing Association of West Virginia, Bob Richards. Bob, when you come to the podium, if you
Yes.
please tell us who you brought with you tonight. And your ask is for $2,500, and this is for sailing school improvements.
Good evening, everyone. I'm happy to be here again. Soul Mountain Sailing, by the way, do you all have copies of our grant request?
They don't have copies, but it's all of the grants are available to all of them to review.
I was gonna try to save you just a little bit of time in talking. To say that Soul Mountain Sailing has found a home here in Summersville doesn't quite hit it. We're proud of the work that we've done. We've run over 600 people through our free sailing classes, many of which now own boats. And of course, once you own a boat, you start spending money. We try to encourage them to spend it locally, as we do everything we can locally as well. We've gone through 13 Mountain Mama Hospice Regattas. We're the only one in this state, the only hospice regatta in this state. Some of you have been involved with us in one way or another, and of course, always greatly appreciated. This year, partly because of our success, we're adding additional classes to our summer series of classes teaching basics of sailing. And of course, this is open to all West Virginians. It's free. We want it to remain that way. And we keep everything light and easy, and hopefully these people will find something new in life to follow. Sailing is a great sport, and we think it builds good character in people, especially our youngsters. And I really feel strongly about that. We continue to build boats and do everything we can to either make them as inexpensive as possible for our youngsters, or in many cases just flat give them to them. You know, not everybody has this extra few $100 sitting around. And so that's where most of our money goes. The majority of the funds that we garner from the regatta, etc., now nearly $90,000 has gone to Hospice of Southern West Virginia. So those two items are our primary reason for existing. That, and we just love working on these old beat-up boats and such. So, I don't want to take up too much of your time. I hope that you might have some questions for me. I'd be happy to try to answer them.
Okay.
Oh, you need to know how much we're asking for. We're asking for $2,500, the majority of which is going to cover the need for both plumbing and electrical from our present electrical supply down to one of our barns where our lift is that we would use to lift boats, etc., safely. And having electrical power down there and water is a real challenge. And fairly expensive for those of you who may have had to put in underground wiring, you know. And the distance is about 250 feet, roughly speaking, and a fairly expensive project, actually. We're adding more tables, a larger tent. Our other finally just gave up the ghost last year, it couldn't take anymore. So now we have a 20 by 10, which will be very comfortable for the students to get in, out of the weather, in the shade, etc. So,
Okay.
that and pond supplies. We try to keep the water as clean as possible, and that requires chemical treatment, that sort of thing. And I take care of that myself as the harbor master. I generally spend a lot of time on the pond. We want it clean and we want it clear. And so that's where we're going to be spending money this year.
How about a plug for your regatta this year?
Excuse me?
A plug for your regatta this year, the dates?
Yes, 18th, 19th, and 20th of August. And, okay. You're all welcome, obviously. You know, we try to get everybody involved in the area. It was shocking to know that some of our students are in their 80s. And this has been on a bucket list for some of these folks. And I'm just telling you, it is so cool to see somebody that's always wanted to know how to sail, get in one of these little boats, you know, which aren't that easy to sail, quite frankly. You know, the big boats, you just sit in a nice big chair and you're comfortable. In a little boat, you have to use your head, you have to think, you have to pay attention. And I don't know, it's just hard to explain this to non-sailors, and I'm assuming none of you sail, right? Nobody? My God, let's see, that's 4, 8, 9 possible students in front of me here.
I think my daughter
I'm
would do it.
serious as a
I
heart
think-
attack, folks.
Mom, I think you're a great organization, but sailing is not on my bucket list.
What do you do with that?
Sir?
What do you put in that? I mean.
Well, I built a pond on my property in Corliss. It's fairly good size. You could put the parking lot and this part of the building in it. And it has buoys in it, built a dock. The buoys are there so that the students will have to negotiate these things. You know, it teaches them how to tack and jibe and so forth. And the dock is there so that they will learn how to properly approach a dock and how to get in and out of a boat safely. Quite frankly, after 2 days, most of these people can get in a small boat, go out to Summersville Lake, and enjoy themselves, because that part of the sailing is easy for them. It's difficult on a small pond like ours. You know, so you have to do a lot of tacking, a lot of driving, so you learn a lot in a very short period of time.
Okay.
And we just get a bang out of it. We just love doing it.
Can you talk about participation in the regatta? Who comes to it, who's involved in it?
Oh my gosh. Give you an idea, we've got people coming from Oregon this year that'll come and stay here in Summersville for a couple weeks. And we got people coming from Pennsylvania, Ohio, Tennessee, Kentucky, but the vast majority are West Virginians. That's the vast majority of folks who come. And they give.
What do you do, have races?
Yes, sir, we do. We laughingly call them racing. Because you have a lot of novice sailors, Corinthians, and so they're just out there having a good time, to be honest with you. And we stress that to our folks. You know, there's a briefing ahead of time. They all have instructions on what to do for the various events. One of the items that we have on our list that I didn't mention is called an ollie. And this is an automated start sequence piece of equipment. Very overpriced for what they are, but boy, I'm telling you, they make it easy on the race committee. The race committee runs the races. And once the event gets started, there's about 3 individuals who do all of the hard work. And that includes the starting sequence, and it's a 5-minute process, and the sailors all know about this and how it's done. But the ollie allows this thing to be automated. And so it's a loud horn for those who can't see the flags on the committee boat, which will also be used. They can hear the horns. And this is their signal to start racing.
So they kick it off with the hospitality meal that the Summersville Rotary Club does every year, and I've had the honor of participating in that for many years.
Yes, yeah,
And what I will say, it's an incredible group of people that you bring together, great fellowship,
yes.
and the spirit of your boaters is incredible.
Yeah,
I always enjoyed the night and the company.
I'm pretty proud of the group, I
Yeah.
really am. I mean, this was a dream of mine, to be candid with you, and it's gone way past anything I expected. People don't laugh anymore when we tell them about sailing or yacht clubs in West Virginia. They know who we are
Navy?
now.
Are you retired Navy?
Excuse me?
Are you a Navy man?
Yes, I was.
Retired Navy?
Yes, I was. Yeah, very proud to have been a sailor.
Okay, well, Bob, thank you so much. Council, any last minute questions?
I think my wife and daughter may have signed me up for a class, so I'm gonna get into this.
Well, they'll have fun, I can assure you of that, and it'll always be done in a safe manner.
If they can keep me in the boat, I don't know.
You're welcome. Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and to round the evening out, the Summersville Christmas Store, and we're glad to have with us tonight Mary Ann Taylor. And this is for the 2023 event.
Well, good evening. And I am here to present the request for the Christmas store. Also, Amy Gross is a board member for the board of directors for the Christmas store. Thank you for the generous grant that we received last year for the Christmas store. And I just want to take a moment just to congratulate the other 4 presenters tonight, because you all do great work. It was really interesting to hear everything. So congratulations to all the good work you do. A little bit about the Christmas store. It's held in December every year. We have volunteers that will shop in November. We spend about 4 hours at Walmart shopping for all of the families. And then all of that is brought back to the Arena and Conference Center. Then we set the store up in December. It takes a couple of days. And then the families will come in to shop. In September, we generally try to get the applications out to the families. We do that through DHHR, the WIC office, the Nicholas County Board of Education, Dr. Tomshaw's office. We run ads in the Chronicle and do some social media posts. So we try to get it out there to get as many families that need the help to get that application into their hands. The night of the store, we'll have a minimum of 75 volunteers that come to help with the store. They will help the families, the parents to navigate through the store to pick out their toys. They help the children to navigate to pick out the gifts for their parents. The children are allowed to pick out a gift for each of their parents that's valued at $12 per parent, and the parents can pick out 2 toys for each child that's valued at about $65 per child. They always have Santa and Mrs. Claus there. The children always get a bag of candy. Every family gets cookies, and every family gets a bag of non-perishable food items. So when they leave, all their gifts are wrapped. They have their bag of food, their candy, their cookies, and they're ready to go. Actually, this year, an exciting thing that also happened was we had a representative from Dolly Parton's Imagination Library that was at the Christmas store that set up a little booth and signed up many families for the children to get free books through her library. The Christmas store does make a huge impact on this community. It's been in existence for over 40 years, and it really does, it brings people together from all walks of life, all working for the same goal, and that's to provide Christmas for families that otherwise would not have Christmas. So the project is very successful. It is funded through grants, through private donations from businesses and individuals. So thank you for your past support. We know that you have a lot of grant requests, and we also understand the economic times are difficult for everyone. We are requesting a $5,000 grant for this year, and we thank you for your consideration, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Council?
We hear nothing but good things about us.
Well,
Okay, Mary Ann, thank you.
thank you.
Great overview. Okay, council, as I said early, another 5 great presentations, another 5 very worthy causes that serve our community. So next week, you have the tough decision, because we had 5 last week and 5 this week to distribute funds. So, and then as always, you all would hear from Cookie Comer, the finance director. Once council's made the decision, she'll notify everybody as to what your awards are. Okay, moving right along, the next item on the agenda, the 2023 Arbor Day Proclamation. What I'd like to do is highlight the proclamation by first bragging on the Summersville Forestry Council, run under the leadership of Kenny Baker and his board. In a really exciting way, this year, once again, the city, and this is 15 years running, we have been awarded the Tree City USA Award. A big part of that is that we hold an Arbor Day Foundation ceremony every year, and we do. And of course, this year's ceremony is on, and it's going to take place for April 20, I was going to give you the date, 4/28/23, and I said 4 means April. So it's April 28th, and this has been a decade, I'd say even, you know, it's been a decade and a half running with me, and it probably was in existence. No, actually, we started the Arbor Day about the time I started as mayor, but anyway, 5th graders from Summersville Elementary School always put on an Arbor Day program, and it is wonderful. And again, it's great to get kids involved in this important cause. So that is actually going to take place at Old Main this year. And then everybody will walk down from Old Main, along with, again, First Energy, the Forestry, Summersville Forestry Group, and the First Energy. Both of them will plant a tree that day. The kids will be there to help. And then all of the kids get a sapling from the State Forestry Division. So anyway, another great ceremony and day put in place to celebrate Arbor Day here in the city of Summersville. And thanks to the Forestry Council for everything they do to give us their 15-year running Tree City USA. So with that said, whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for planting of trees. And whereas this holiday called Arbor Day was first observed with planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. How ironic is that? I was born and raised in Nebraska. And of course, you know, it's funny, they planted 1 million trees, and when you drive through that state from one end to the other, the only time you'll see trees is when you see a farm and they're around the farmhouse. Otherwise, it's a wide open, flat land for agriculture growth. Arbor Day now is observed throughout the nation and the world. And whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce life-giving oxygen, and produce habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable source giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fire, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees in our city increase property value, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. And whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Now therefore, I, Robert L. Schaefer, Mayor of the City of Summersville, West Virginia, do hereby proclaim April 28th, 2023 as Arbor Day in the City of Summersville. And I urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day and to support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands. And I further urge all citizens to plant the gladden to the heart and promote the well-being of this and future generations. Dated this 10th day of April 2023. I'll sign this, and I'll leave it with you, fine sir, so you can give it to Amy so she can give it to the Forestry Council. Okay. So again, another exciting Arbor Day here in the city of Summersville, and a big thank you to the Forestry Council. Council, the next item on the agenda would be general fund budget revision number 3. Running down the line here, going to increase state government grants by $50,400, and this is our DOH project money for the engineering grant that's taking place on Webster Road. Increase $7,000 for the Division of Forestry. The Forestry Council was fortunate enough to get a grant for $14,000. Of course, 50% of it's us, $7,000 is the state. So we're adding that increase to the budget. Other grants, the mural grant, $10,000. The new mural will start here real soon down there at the corner of USAID, and that is a $20,000 project, $10,000 from other funds and $10,000 from the city. Interest earned, we're increasing our interest earned. We anticipated at the beginning of the year that we would only bring in about $1,000 interest. We're raising that. Due to the increase of interest rates, we're seeing a little bit better return on the money we have in the bank, so we're increasing our interest income to $12,000. And then, of course, miscellaneous revenue is $7,500. That's where we were reimbursed monies when we were under the Nick Joe Rahal contract. Those are funds that we brought in from other sources that we partnered with in that contract when he was working for us in D.C. So now let's spend the money that we just appropriated in the budget. We're going to add $14,000 to the Forestry Council budget, bringing their total budget to $38,000. We're going to increase the City Hall contractual $7,500. Of course, that $7,500 is to make the Rahal payments. And then, of course, $5,000 we're increasing for the office remodel that we did over here in the old DNR office, which as soon as it opens up will be the new office for the mayor of the city of Summersville. We're also increasing the street contractual $50,400, and that is for where we're putting the money for the DOH sidewalk project for the engineering. And then last but not least, the $10,000 increase in the Parks and Rec for the USAID mural that will take place down on the USAID lot. You can see that the revenue we added was $86,900, and we just spent $86,900. I'll entertain a motion for approval.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a first and a second. Council, there any discussion or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion so carries. Recorder's report.
I have a couple of things, Mayor. Thanks. First, I'd like to just announce that a week from tonight, on Monday the 17th, we'll be having a planning and zoning meeting right here in the council chambers. The discussion will be on tiny homes. We'll be taking a good hard look at that as to the regulation and how we want to take a look at those tiny homes in our city limits. Also, I would like to say, just not too long ago, we were talking about some of the things that the mayor and I was a part of down at the state. And one of those things was, one of those items was getting some tougher laws, getting the state to help us a little bit in regard to, one of those was taking away driver's license and for example, during times when fines were not being paid and things of that nature, just to give you more bite in regard to laws and things of that nature. I'm happy to say that I did have Ms. Heather Tolley come to the city building and discuss some of those issues with us. As most of you are aware, that did not come to fruition, and it did not pass down there. I'm not even sure it made it to the floor. You might know that better than I do, but it did not happen. It's much needed, and I'm going to continue to stand on this and ask the council to discuss this with as many folks as you can. It's important. We in our city are seeing some dilapidation of some homes, some facilities that we can find, and we can do a lot of things, but we need some more bite, we need some more help in regard to some of these situations. So she was very open. I was able to discuss and told her my feeling on it, and she told me hers, And, you know, she
What was
promised,
her?
she promised me that she would go back. Well, she promised me she would go back and try to come up with something else that could help and be very similar. But she, you know, it just didn't pass for a lot of reasons. She told me the main reason was, down there, they really struggled with the piece of the driver's license, taking away a driver's license. It was a real struggle for a lot of folks, and they just couldn't get past that. So I pointed out some properties in our town that we're having some trouble with, and we've had a couple of comments on our council, brought to our council, and it's a tough situation, and it's only getting worse without bringing these folks out into the open. But drive around and take a look around. You'll see some of these properties. There's a real good chance that these properties have had fines levied against them. But, you know, we just need some more assistance. And so I asked her, she promised me when she went back, she would look into that and hopefully help us out with that a little bit. So I just wanted this council to know that it's still rolling. I think it's important that we keep it out there in the open. You know, we need some assistance from that state level. So with that being said, that's basically all I have.
Good. So, you know, just to capitalize on what Gary said, so in other words, if you live in town and you live next to one of those dumps, we're doing everything we can do, and I feel bad for some of these people and the properties that they're living next to, because they're literally dumps. And sometimes I think it's intentional. And so the bottom line is we used to have some leverage when they came to court. If they didn't pay their fines, we could take their driver's license. Well, the state changed that. So now they come to court, all they got to do is pay one $20 fine. They set the fine up on payment, pay one payment. There's nothing we can do. And so, you know, and the thing of it is I don't want anybody in this city to have to live next to something that I wouldn't want to live next to. And I think there's a real fine line. This is America. People should have the right to live to some extent. But I mean, literally, we're talking about properties that are just unsightly. We're talking about properties that nobody should have to live next to. And then again, what it does is it, you know, when it starts hurting your property value, there's a problem. And so, you know, I'm tickled to see Gary get engaged like he has, but we need everybody to get engaged, because last year during the session, when I specifically made calls, the core of the body down there believes that when you take their driver's license, it hurts the workforce. Well, I think that these people, most of them have common sense. First of all, people that don't care about their driver's license aren't ever going to do anything about their property anyway. But I do believe there's individuals we're dealing with that will not run the risk of losing their license, you know, to not make improvements to their property. I mean, we've got to have, as a municipality, some leverage, and we don't.
How come other cities are able to condemn properties and tear them down?
So, you know, that's another whole ball of wax. You know, we're talking about, I mean, you run a real risky gamut. We're talking about houses that have families. You know, we're talking about displacement of families. You're right, there are situations. Now, we're talking about vacant. As a matter of fact, we're going into executive session tonight, and I'm going to present something to you about a vacant dwelling that I'm going to request action on tonight. So vacant dwellings are one thing, but dwellings that house family is another. And it's just not as easy to go in and displace families, and I don't even think that that's the business we want to be in. What we need is state law, state statute that allows us to have enforcement as a municipality to continue to work to beautify our city. And so, you know, the efforts that Gary's made working with our delegate, we need to get our senators in here, and then we need all of you to engage and help in this effort, because we are making no ground. And all I ask you to do is drive around our city. I can give you the addresses and the properties. Some were brought up in previous meetings, and say, okay, let me set this next to your house and see how you would like to live there. And so collectively, as a body, governing body, responsible to our citizens, we all collectively have to work and work those folks in Charleston to understand. Okay, if you're not going to let us take the license, which we didn't have issues like we do now when we could take driver's license, if you're not going to do that, then give us something in our play card that will force these people to do something about their properties. Thank you for bringing that up.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else, Gary?
No, that was.
Thank you, good report. Okay, council, I want to invite you, because we've all been invited, you and me, to the Nicholas County Family Treatment Court for Rebuilding Families. Circuit Judge Steve Callahan, who does a wonderful job, has invited us again. Gary and I have attended many times to graduation, the Nicholas County Family Court Treatment graduation, which takes place Thursday, April 20th at the Nicholas County Circuit Courtroom. The Family Treatment Court program is an intensive, collaborative approach to serve families who require substance use disorder treatment and who are involved with the children welfare system. So they've got another graduation that takes place on Thursday, April 20th, and this invitation was sent to City Hall for Mayor and City Council. So I encourage you all to attend if you can. It's 11 a.m. 11 a.m. at the Nicholas County courtroom.
It's pretty moving. It's a wonderful experience. It's wonderful to attend.
You said Thursday?
Yeah, Thursday, April 20th at 11 a.m. Graduation. And you know, they're running several of these treatment court, teen court, everything through. You know, it's a wonderful program. Steve Callahan and his team have been the catalyst in bringing some of this, and quite frankly, the program, the way it runs in Nicholas County is, you know, one of the best in the state. Okay, the next item, council. I think, Jim, at the last meeting, you asked me to review with you all the paving details. I provided you all with our paving contract. I just want to highlight it real quick. We're going to pave Williams Street. We're putting down 1,157 square yards of paving. Church Street, 98 square yards of paving. Lee Street, 817 square yards of paving. Broad Street, 750 square yards of paving. Reynolds Street, 1,350 square yards of paving. Myrtle Street, 583 square yards of paving. Woods of Townsend, 2,133 square yards of paving. The street here in front of City Hall, 1,174 square yards. Going to pave the city parking lot, 741 square yards. And the salt pads, we've now got our salt shed and cinder shed moved to our new location. The only thing that we still have on the State Road location, on the old State Road garage where we used to operate as a tenant, is our salt and cinder. As soon as we get our pads laid in front of our salt shed and our cinder shed, we'll move our salt and cinder out of the state. We will completely have exited the State Road garage on Webster Road. And of course, that's going to be 345 square yards. This all comes to a total, and it will happen here real soon, of $191,450 is what we're spending on this round of paving. So that gives you a rundown of our paving. I'd also like to highlight, it's interesting, I always hear in the community, especially when it's election time, you know, everybody's got ideas for change, and I welcome them. And what I welcome is people get involved in our fine city. So I'm here to announce that we have board openings, and we're currently looking for 2 seats on the BZA, and that's the Board of Zoning and Appeals. We have 2 open seats, so if anybody would be interested in the city, I would ask you to please get in touch with me, call City Hall, leave your name and number here at City Hall. You can ask for Amy or just leave it at City Hall. It'll get to Amy, and then Amy will get it to me, and then of course we'll bring your name before City Council for those openings. We also have some seats that are up for renewal, and we have another vacancy in the Summersville Forestry Council. Kenny Baker, who has proudly served us 4 years, chairman as 4 years, has asked to step aside. He's done an incredible job. Big shoes to fill, but thankfully you won't have to come in as chairman like Kenny did for us, but we are looking to fill Kenny's seat on the Summersville Forestry Council. So anybody out there interested in the BZA, Board of Zoning and Appeals, and or the Forestry Council, we have open seats. Also have some other seats that are coming available on Planning and Zoning and the Brown Oaks Board of Directors, but I'm not going to announce the opening of those seats till I get confirmation as to whether the current people who are still eligible to be reappointed are interested in being reappointed. So vacancies on city boards, looking for volunteers, welcoming volunteers. Council, all I want to do is give you save the date, and that is Meet the Candidate Night. It's going to take place May 18th, 6 to 8 p.m. at the Old Main Auditorium. And at the next council meeting, the chamber who hosts this, the chamber director will be here to give us an update on the chamber and the details of Meet the Candidate Night. I would also like to say, council, just a couple other notes. I gave you the West Virginia Ethics April volume. Good read. This is always good stuff that's going on relative to ethics, the State Board of Ethics. So I made it a habit to start giving you this. I've given you the April edition of the West Virginia Ethics. Spring cleanup has been successful so far. Last week was wards 1 and 2. This week is 3 and 4. I've got great news to announce. We're going to leave it open for a third week. So anybody out there, Ray, if you would put this in the paper, anybody out there in the entire city, if we missed you in week 1 or week 2 and you have a pickup, it's all about the beautification of our city. We're willing to come in week 3 anywhere in the city and pick up anything that maybe you couldn't get out or you just simply missed cleanup. Again, allowable items are furniture, appliance, and other large items. Pretty much we take anything that's not regular garbage, leaves, brush, tires, or construction debris. Just about anything else we'll take. The only thing we ask you, if you're putting out a large appliance that has Freon, it has to have a sticker notifying us that you have cleared the Freon from whatever it is, the apparatus that you've set out. So again, we're going to run it for a third week. This week is Ward 3 and 4, but next week we're going to run it as well for the entire city. The only other announcement that I would like to real excitedly say, and this has been a big help to our executive director from Summersville Arena and Conference Center, Marianne Taylor, we have selected a assistant director for the Summersville Arena and Conference Center. Not going to release the name tonight because contractually we got a few things that we're working out, but without any doubt it is a go, and boy do we have we selected a good person that will initially sit in the assistant director seat and then become the new director of the Summersville Arena and Conference Center. So we've got a meeting Wednesday where we're going to tidy up all the details, and then the name will be released on our new assistant director, soon to be a director of the Summersville Arena and Conference Center. That concludes the mayor's report, council, unless anybody has any questions on anything that I just gave you. Okay, hearing none. Okay, how about council reports? Any council reports? None this way? Any this way? None? Okay, if I could get a motion to go into executive session, I would like to read. We're going into executive session. We put on our agenda what's required by state statute. Tonight we will be doing matters related to construction, planning, commercial competition matters, the purchase, sale, or lease of property and or investment of public funds. It's in that category for the purpose of our executive session. I'll entertain a motion to move. We got to move. Mike first.
Second.
And second down here.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.